You guys already know there's a RAM crisis going on right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't build a PC. And today we're going to show you how in 2026 you can still build a gaming PC using some older parts.
At the time of planning this video, this build is $575. We're going to show you step by step how to build it after a word from today's sponsor.
If you're having trouble shopping for the perfect holiday gift, whether it's for a gamer in your life or honestly for yourself, you've got to check out today's video sponsor, Jawa.gg. Jawa is the #1 gaming marketplace for buying and selling PC gear and scoring awesome custom-built systems at some of the best prices out there. Jawa's builders put together exceptional gaming PCs using high-quality, off-the-shelf components. You get the craftsmanship and performance of a custom build with the convenience of a pre-built, and at a price that beats most major pre-built brands. What really sets Jawa apart is the peace of mind you get while shopping. Every listing is reviewed, and each purchase comes with built-in buyer protection, so you can feel confident whether you're picking up an upgrade or unwrapping a whole new rig for the holidays. One deal I spotted today is this AMD Ryzen 7 7700X for just $215. That's a great price for a super solid mid-range AM5 processor. Head over to Jawa.gg today and use code TOASTY10 to save 10% off your first order up to $10. Big thanks to Jawa for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it.
Now guys, this one's going to be fun. This is a full build guide, step by step. So Matt and I are going to show you every single step it takes to build this exact gaming PC, and it'll be pretty relevant to quite a few other builds. But starting off, the star of this build, a CPU that's been around for a while, the Ryzen 5 5500. This is a 6-core, 12-threaded CPU that comes with a stock cooler. And yeah, this thing's AM4. It's technically pretty old now, but they still make them new. You can actually buy all of the parts in this video brand new still, and I expect you'll probably be able to all the way into 2026 as well. And yeah, this one's pretty awesome. I mean, $79.99, sometimes cheaper than that. The only limitation is it does not have Gen 4 support, it's a Gen 3 CPU, so with some newer GPUs being like Gen 5, like 90 series and 50 series, you may have a little bit of bottlenecking, but we've tested it, not too bad. Now to cool that CPU, you don't need all this, but I like to go aesthetic sometimes. This right here is the ID Cooling FX240 Pro. It is a really cheap liquid cooler. I mean, these things are like 50 to 60 bucks, and it's a 240 ml liquid cooler. Like I said, you could use the stock cooler that comes with this, but I think spending a little bit more to get yourself a tower cooler or a water cooler is totally worth it, and it gives us a little more of an upgrade path. Now remember I said the price of the CPU was like 80 bucks, and that's normally what it is. Well, I did get a Newegg bundle, which you probably can't buy anymore anyways, so these boards would normally be like, let's just say 70 to 100 bucks. This is just an ASRock B450M AC. It's the revision 2, and it actually has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And it's not a bad board. It actually has 4 RAM slots. It does just have some really basic VRM covers, but I mean, overall, it's a pretty cheap board. And I got this as a bundle on Newegg, so keep an eye on Newegg, guys. They always have bundles, and there are still sometimes RAM bundles, believe it or not. But I paid like 106 bucks for this bundle. So in a way, I got the motherboard for like 20 to 30 bucks, which was really good at the time, so we definitely saved some money that way. Now here's our first shout out to Jawa.gg. We actually bought this RAM on Jawa. This is Patriot, and it's a used kit. That's kind of what Jawa is all about. It's kind of like a eBay, if you will, but for computer enthusiasts and the really good stuff where you can actually find some good deals. So 16 gig dual channel, we ended up getting 3000 megahertz CL16, and I paid $50 for this, which I remember when I bought this thinking, it's an okay deal. This is a golden deal now, because now this RAM may be closer to like $100. So I do recommend do some shopping, do some deal hunting. Don't be afraid of used RAM, and just don't overpay for it. Don't buy like the most fancy stuff you can find. Let's just get through this RAM crisis together. Now these have also gone up a little bit. This little guy right here is a KingSpec NVMe 1 terabyte. It's a Gen 3. There's no reason to buy a Gen 4 for it because this motherboard and the CPU both can't really handle Gen 4. They'll run in Gen 3. So we saved a little bit of money buying a Gen 3 drive, which now you're saving a lot. Now it's like 20 bucks, but $70, still a lot. These were about 50 or less, but yeah, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not as bad as the RAM situation.
This right here is an Asus Dual RX 6600 we picked up on eBay with a 1 terabyte hard drive, believe it or not, for 160 bucks. Now, this GPU is a bit older, but in 2026, this will still be great for your 1080p gaming, about medium-high settings, and in some titles, you might need to go lower with some FSR. But the story about the GPU is we actually bought a 6600 from Jawa for a grand total of 156 bucks. It was a Gigabyte 3-fan model, but we're having issues with our post office here in Louisville, Kentucky, where they're just losing stuff constantly, and the power supply I'm about to talk about is also the same scenario. It should show up before the video goes live, potentially, and if it does, we'll show some B-roll on screen here of that graphics card as well, because Jawa is a good resource to find deals on things like GPUs or power supplies, especially going into 2026, but we just had to mention we had to get an alternative because, well, the post office is sucking right now. Now, originally, we found a deal for an ASRock Challenger 850 watt power supply that was $58 on Jawa, which is a pretty solid power supply for a used deal. This right here is the alternative we went with. Of course, the Seagotep 650 80 plus gold power supply, and you can get these for about 50 bucks if you're buying them new, and it's a good alternative. You can can go with. It's one we use a lot with our PC builds, and we've been very happy with it for the price, and this is plenty of watts. But if you can find a used deal like we did on an 850, it gives you a little bit of room for upgrade in the future to a better GPU. Now for the case, I'm reading the build sheet for PC Bros, by the way. This is the DIY PC MATX06 Wood. Jackson just wanted me to bark, woof. But it's a wood case, if you guys can't tell. But this is a micro ATX case. It is very long. It has kind of like that P30 Zalman vibes, where it's a very long micro ATX case. We do have 3 fans up front, non-RGB, and 1 in the back, and it has the wood paneling you look for. And the price point is $58. Pretty good value, if you ask me, especially DIY PC. They make some awesome cases on a budget, and it's going to make it very easy for you to build your first PC if you're following along at home. Really like this case. All in all, again, around $575 at the time of playing this video. Hopefully throughout 2026 you can find deals on this stuff to keep the build around that price point, but again, we don't really know. We'll see what happens. You'll let us know in the comments down below if you're watching this later in 2026. Hopefully there's still YouTube. I don't think it'll get that bad, but hopefully you guys are still watching. But let's go ahead and show you guys step by step how to build this gaming PC. First, Jackson's going to show you how to set up the motherboard, get the RAM, CPU, storage, and cooler installed. Then I'm going to show you how to install it into the case, get the power supply hooked up and ready to go. And then we're going to plug up all the cables and get you off to gaming to see if this is a good PC to build in 2026. We think so.
So we got everything laid out on the table. We've already unboxed our motherboard. We have our CPU, our NVMe, our RAM, and this is the stuff that comes in the motherboard box, our IO Shield, Wi-Fi, SATA, which we're not even really gonna need some of that stuff there, but let's do the CPU first. It's the fun step. So this is an older Ryzen CPU, it's AM4. That means it has pins, so be real careful removing these. I can't tell you how many pins I've fixed over the years. And I always like to do a quick inspection. You know, just spin it around, make sure that you have grids. The pin should be nice and straight. A bent pin will stick out like a bent pin or a sore thumb or whatever you guys like to say. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna open up this latch just like that. And there's actually a little arrow on the CPU, and there's also a tiny, I mean, there's a tiny arrow on there. So yeah, it's, you know, it can only go in one way. And you'll know if you're putting it in wrong because you'll have to force it. So you see how it just kind of fell into place. Sometimes you might need to just add a light nudge, but if you're having to put any serious pressure, it means that some pins are off or completely bent. So CPU is in, nice and simple. We're gonna skip the cooler for now and go on to the RAM. This is the fun step right here. So you'll notice this motherboard, sometimes they actually tell us which slots to put it into first. This one doesn't. But generally, almost always, if you have 2 sticks, you're gonna do the furthest away from the CPU first and then skip one, and that's how you get dual channel. So we're gonna line the RAM up. This stuff can only go in one way. You'll notice there's a notch down here and a notch down here, a key. So what we did was we opened up one side. This motherboard only has 1 latch. A lot of motherboards do that. Some will have 2 latches. So I always like to do the side that's not a latch side first, and then kind of complete it, and then kind of just go through and sanity check, you know, do an extra push. You know, notice I didn't use my thumb to push the clip. I'm gonna show you what I mean by that in a second here. So if I was to do this, so get this in, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to push too hard. I promise that's not in, your PC's not going to work. Just use that force, and that will clip in just like that, and then kind of double check. Make sure you're pushing straight down, not an angle. These feel like they're in nice and good, and they look really good. So now, let's go into the storage. This part's also pretty easy. This is the first time we're going to have to use a little bit of a tool, though. So what we're going to do, so we separate our clamshell here, pull our NVMe out. Not really too much breakable on here, but just be careful. This one actually comes with a little screw. So this is an M.2 screw. You'll notice how it's tiny. So this right here is a PH1 Phillips. It really helps if it's magnetic. Our LTT screwdrivers are nice and magnetic, so we got that ready to go. So we're gonna put this in at an angle. So it goes in at about a 45-degree angle, maybe a little less. You'll notice it kind of just sits there. Make sure it's all the way in, and then you're gonna push down. And then you're gonna take that M.2 screw, and you're just gonna like finger tighten basically. I'm not even gonna actually, you know, I'm literally just using the shaft of the screwdriver. That's all you need. I've seen people break these off. They don't take a lot of force. The motherboard's almost complete. This is so easy so far, right guys? So we're gonna put on the cooler. This is probably the hardest part of doing the motherboard, is if you buy an aftermarket cooler, they don't just clip on magically. So we got the cooler opened, and it comes with a lot of stuff. Don't be intimidated. We're doing an AM4 or AM5 build. You're just gonna use this stuff here. So this bag right here is gonna be all of your AMD mounting. Now, I've done a lot of builds. I generally know what you're gonna need. So you'll notice that these right here, they're a little bit thicker. These are actually for Threadripper. You're gonna want to use these guys right here. They have like a weird base to them, so you really can't miss them. So you're gonna pull out 4 of these. You're not gonna need any of the spacers, and then you're gonna need 4 of these, which are the nuts that are the thumb screws that you're gonna use, thumb nuts. that you're going to use to actually hold the cooler block on. And then these right here to actually hold the radiator onto the case. So pretty simple. Now this actually comes with a tube of thermal paste, so maybe we can get more than one application out of this if we do another build. But we're going to come over here. CPU is nice and square. It's pretty simple. Yeah, there's some fingerprints on it. It really doesn't matter. I mean, you can go through and clean it if you really want to. But we're going to take the thermal paste. I always think more is less when it comes to thermal paste because I really don't like the idea of my CPU maybe losing some performance or overheating. So I like to go for like our toast logo. On most CPUs I do. And you'll notice this stuff's pretty thick. I really do judge it based on how thick the thermal paste is too. The thinner it is, the more it's going to spread. The thicker it is, the less it's going to spread. So we got a really good application there. So next up, I'm just going to go ahead and get this ready. So you'll notice there's an arrow on here, and there should be an arrow right there. Because this is our AMD mount. And it's going to twist. There we go. And you'll know it's on when it's straight with the tubes. And obviously this right here is our Intel one, so this, just so you guys know, this is the one that you're not going to use for this build. So now we're going to remove our stock brackets. These come on all AMD boards, unless you buy like a used board. These are basically just for certain types of coolers, which honestly are very rare these days. Maybe some liquid coolers will actually use this. Tower coolers, never. All right, a little PH2 Phillips action. We got these removed. Oh, before I put this on, I need to remember this. So we just go like that. Check it out. Just, simple. And you'll notice that there is two totally different thread pitches here. The fine thread part is going to go facing up, which I'm sure you guys should be able to figure out by watching this video. And the last one. And these really only need to be hand tightened because they're both standard thread, so we're not going to be doing any opposing force. Now for the tubes, I do recommend, normally you're going to want the tubes on the RAM side, or my side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and get this on. Oh, one other step. I already did it, but I probably did it off camera. There is a peel here. Remove that, please. I've left it myself, Matt's left it, and I know some of you guys have left it before. If you have that peel on, your PC will overheat. It'll probably just shut down repeatedly, so if yours does that, maybe look and see if you have your peel there. All right, it's looking pretty good. We got full contact already, and you can see we still have room to tighten these down. If for some reason you feel like it's not making contact with the CPU yet, you might be using the wrong mounting. Oh yeah, this is gonna be nice and compressed on there. We're gonna get some really good temps out of this. These are also gonna be PH2. I am just using a PH1 because I'm being lazy. Always do opposing corners whenever you have more than one screw for anything if you can. And there we go. All right, not too bad. Oh, and the fans come pre-installed, by the way. Shout out to that cooler for doing that. They're not always the right direction, though. That part kind of sucks. I may have to flip them around. We'll see. But this right here, this is the actual pump. So the pump is built in the block on this cooler. We normally do liquid cooler, or air coolers for these, so you guys can make it a little simpler. Ooh, and I like this. You can run that right down the middle, and then once it goes in the case, we'll kind of tuck this behind the board. That's gonna look so kind of like this, and that's gonna look very clean. But yeah, you want to make sure that whenever you're running a AIO, that you kind of think a little bit about where your cooler is gonna go. This one's gonna go up top because if Jonah can see this case here, it's a big case. I think this fits at 360, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we only got just a little 240, which will go kind of in the middle. It'll look pretty good. Or you can choose what you want to do. You can go up to the side. But the long story short of why I'm telling you this is the radiator is going to go up top, so we know these are the right direction. We want these to be hidden, so it'll be something like this, and that means it's going to be gravity above. So the pump's at the lowest point. That's perfect. That's where you want your pump, so that you're not getting air bubbles constantly in it. So now Matt's going to come in and show you guys how to get the power supply, the IO shield, and this inside the build.
All right, guys, it is my turn to show you guys how to install the power supply. So I took the power supply out of the box. Here we go, Seago tab. We got all these different cables. If you guys didn't know, this is a non-modular power supply, meaning it has all the cables pre-installed and none you can get rid of. There are semi-modular ones as well that give you the option to plug some in. But to make things easier, we got all these cables ready to go. We do get our power cord and this little bag with some zip ties and some screws to screw in the power supply. Screws to screw in the power supply. Hang on to this, you will need it. Our power cord, where's the box, Jonah? That was not elite ball knowledge, that was embarrassing. All right, but we're gonna get our power supply installed. First thing you're gonna do is remove the back panel of your PC case. And if you look inside here, it is important that you go ahead and take this bag out. This bag has all the screws we'll need to screw in our motherboard and everything. So we're gonna go ahead and just remove this twist tie forcefully and hang on to this bag. It actually comes with a fan to SATA adapter too, if you need that for whatever reason. That's kind of cool. But we're gonna go ahead and take our power supply. We're gonna do fan side facing down because the power supply gets its air from down here in the basement. We're gonna slide in the power supply, and Jonah is looking exactly where he needs to be looking because I'm gonna line this up until you see all the screw holes line up. Is that good, Jonah?
That's good.
So there should be 4 screw holes right there. We're going to take our screwdriver and that little bag of screws with the zip ties that I told you to hang on to that came from your power supply. And we're going to screw in the power supply using our coarse threaded power supply screws, which look like this. They have these little mushroom tops. And they're coarse thread, so easy to use. So I'm gonna go take my screwdriver. We're gonna go to a PH2 bit. We're going to line it up like so. And we're going to screw in. We'll start with this one, shall we? The one that's not actually even lined up properly. Good job, Matt. This one needs to get lifted up a little bit. Start this corner. There we go. Beautiful, power supply is installed. The next step is the I/O shield, which this is what you're gonna need to cover that I/O, the USB on the back of your motherboard, and we're gonna install it right here. So as you guys can see, the best way to do this, if you wanna be very particular, is you can go over to your motherboard and be like, hey, this is how it lines up, and kind of imagine how the motherboard's gonna be in the case. But the good rule of thumb we always tell people is these little circular ones down here normally are the audio jack ports, and that normally is always on the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and line this I/O shield up on the inside. Make sure not to pinch this fan cable right here, because that could be a little problematic. We're gonna line it up. I'm doing this from a very particular angle. It might be quite difficult for me. So we're gonna do that, push in one corner, push in another corner, and potentially you'll have a seated I/O shield. Sometimes it can be difficult, even for people who have built PCs many times. Okay, I'm going to a different side. This is difficult. There we go. One in there, one in there. All right, that's looking pretty good. It may not be the most satisfying, but as long as it's in there, you're good. So now we're gonna lay down our PC case and then lower your table for your cameraman so they can see exactly what's happening. In my case, it's a Jonah. Now again, we have a liquid cooler and Jackson has it set up to where I can just plop in the motherboard with a liquid cooler and install it. And I know a lot of people install liquid coolers after putting a motherboard in. We don't really like to do it that way, but you can do that if you want to. But this is our step-by-step guide. So I'm gonna remove this fan filter because we need to be able to screw in our radiator when we install it. Put that somewhere safe. And we're gonna do a little standoff check here. I'm looking and looking, and I'm thinking we're actually missing this one and this one. Now, you don't necessarily need to put those in, but just to make sure we're on the top and top, we're gonna go ahead and put in those extra standoffs, which come in the bag of screws, hopefully, that you got with your case. So we're gonna open it up, and then the bag within the bag, and then the bag within that bag. Wow, guys, look at this. We open this up, we actually get the little standoff tool, which will show you how to use. That is really nice and handy. And we have standoff. So there's 1 and 2. So with the standoff tool, you're going to take your screwdriver with the PH2 bit, like so. Take a standoff, stick in here like so. And then we're gonna go over here, and you see these ones labeled M, so this one right here and this one right here, for micro ATX motherboards. We're gonna go ahead and screw in the standoff. Don't twist too hard until you get a little bit of pressure there, and then you're good, because these are pretty easy to strip out if you're a little too aggressive. So then we're gonna do this top one, and just like that, our motherboard is now ready to be installed. So I'll go ahead and get our screws together because that is probably a good idea. To screw in this motherboard, you're gonna need fine threaded screws, which for comparison, that's a fine threaded screw, fine threaded motherboard screw. This is that coarse threaded screw we use for our power supply. You don't wanna use those in this case. Some cases might be different, but this one, you don't need to use that. We're gonna use these fine threaded screws. It'd be really funny if you don't, because I'm just absolutely guessing, but DIY PC always seems to do it. So we're gonna go and get these somewhat organized for me to be able to screw in our motherboard. Cool, use that right there. And then we're gonna grab our cooler. This is where they show that clip of me grabbing the cooler with a magnetic top and it falls. This time it won't happen. That'd be pretty funny if it did though. All right, so we're gonna grab it from the actual block because we're good this time, right? And I'm gonna move this case back a little bit so we can run these cables back behind here and make it a little bit easier. Grab the motherboard. Line it up like so. Once again, watch out for that fan cable right there. You do not want to pinch that. We're gonna line up. And just like that, you see all the screw holes lining up. There, there, there. On the other side. There, there, and there. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and screw in the motherboard because that'll make putting in the radiator a little bit easier. So we'll go ahead and do all those screws. and screw it in like so. Nice. So we're gonna do this standing up just to make it easier for you guys to see, but you see this cable right here? This is the one which Jackson right now, what does he have hooked up? So he has CP fan hooked up on the block. So then these would just be the fans for the radiator. So what we're gonna do just for cable management purposes, and we're gonna run that cable through here. Okay, and we'll go and pull that cable through. Then, just to make it easier on me, I'm gonna slowly lay this back down. And then we're gonna line up our radiator, probably like over on this side. Since we have a 240, I like to line it up with the motherboard just for symmetry purposes. We're gonna line it up the best we can, and then, I wish I could turn this around. You might need to run over here and I'll show them on this side. So then these radiator screws that Jackson saved for me, but then I put up, but I found again, are the ones you're gonna be using. They're coarse thread screws as well. And I turned this so it'll be a little easier for Jonah to see. We're going to do it to where these are kind of like right on the edge. So we're gonna use these two, this one, and this one. And that should get you lined up pretty good, but I'm gonna set this down for a second so I can get the screws out. All right, so they are all screwed in, looking good to go. We're going to raise this up, ladies and gentlemen. And look at that, let's get this table up. We now have our motherboard installed. We have the cable routed properly for an AO going out the back of the case. Now it's the moment where you might be a little scared. What do you need to do? We gotta plug up some cables, and that's where Jackson and I are gonna come in to show you guys how to do so.
So now for the part that's going to be a lot of fun. It's not going to be that bad. We're going to go ahead and start plugging in some cable, starting off with the old 24 pin. This is like the biggest connector coming off of the power supply. And I'm going to go ahead and feed this through to Matt. You can kind of take your choice on this one. I think I'm going to go low with it. I'm going to go right there.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to move these tubes out of the way. Mr. Tubes.
Bartholomew tubes.
And we're going to take our 24 pin. We're going to line up the clip on the back of it with the clip on the 24 pin connector. Or the, clip on clip. That's what we're going to call it. Push in. Oh gosh. Oh wait, wait a minute. That was the most
close. I think it's in. That
was the most unsatisfying 24 pin install I've ever had.
They don't always click, honestly, guys. All right, now let's do the second most important connector. This is the CPU 4+4 pin, or just an 8 pin, depending on who you ask. And I do recommend kind of as you go, try to do a little bit of cable management, like preemptively. You're not going to put any zip ties on, but at least make sure stuff's not like overlapping each other a ton. And there's like a tiny little cutout up top right there you can see.
Now this one will be a little more difficult because you got to plug it in right here, and our radiator's in the way, but it should be fine. So we're gonna grab it with a little finesse. If you want to save yourself the headache, take your radiator out.
Yeah, or do it before the radiator install.
Yeah, but this one's actually not too bad. We've done a lot worse. So we're gonna take it, line up the clip with the top, line up, and be sure both sides are pushed in, both 4 pins, because sometimes that happens.
All right, let's go ahead and do, just while we're on the power supply side of things, so we know, just by looking at our GPU, it's going to take one 8-pin, which is PCIe, not 8-pin CPU, 8-pin PCIe. They're actually labeled too. So I'm going to go ahead and run this one preemptively. We're not plugging it in yet. That would be crazy. But I'm going to go ahead and just put that, we're going to go right through here, and kind of just for safekeeping, it'll make cable managing later a little easier.
So there it is. You can see her. We're just going to leave that right there. It might flop around a little bit. I'm actually just going to tuck it over here so we don't lose it.
All right, we're off the power supply. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is probably one of the hardest connectors for most beginners. This right here is our front panel. And as you guys can see, it's labeled. Each one's labeled, but this is how you control like your power switch and your reset switch. And that is typically always on the far side of the board.
There it is. Through there. See it coming through. Now, McAllister, put that diagram on screen. We're going to go ahead and plug up the hard drive LED in the bottom left corner. Above that, we're going to do the power LED, positive on the left, negative on the right. And then we're going to go to the right of that and plug up our power switch. And then below that, we're going to plug in the reset switch. Why did I do that to myself? You know what? Don't listen to me. Do the reset switch first. Always do the bottom one first. I don't know why I did that. Reset on the bottom and power switch above it. That diagram McAllister did is going to look great.
All right. And now before I run anything else, because I realized since we're done with the power supply, I want to get some of these cables out of my way. These are all cables we're not going to need. This is not modular. So we got extra SATA, we got Molex connectors, we even have an extra PCIe. It's a pretty good power supply. And I'm going to take all these. And there's a little thing called a hard drive cage down here at the bottom. We're past that era, guys. We don't mess with no hard drives no more. So I'm just gonna shove.
I mean, our GPU came with one for free, so they're just trying to get rid of it.
Literally. Yes, I don't even, did we tell them that?
Yeah, I mentioned that during the thing. We got a free hard drive with ours.
Yep, heck yeah, we're not even using it. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna be putting our HD audio through. So this is gonna look really similar to USB 2, which we don't even have, but it's missing a pin towards the middle there. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that through, right through here.
All right, and we're gonna take the HD audio. It is the far left connector with the missing pin. Line up the missing pin with the header. Plug it in. And boom, just like that, HD audio is good to go.
All right, now let's go ahead and do the USB Type-C. This is a really weird looking connector for people who've been building for a long time. You know, we're just like, what is this? I'm gonna take that and where is that? Do we have one? Matt gave me the look. So it needs an adapter because this board is old enough where it doesn't have USB-C. So for now, our front USB-C header just is not gonna be plugged in. We're gonna see if we can find an adapter lying around here. If not, we're gonna have to buy one. Let's just skip on to USB 3. That's going to go right up here by the 24 pin.
You see it coming out? This one's a little bit fragile. If you line up the little pin with the header, push in to secure, and you hear a boom, a click.
We have one more thing to plug in before we go on to our GPU install, which that's the fun part, the most expensive part. We have a couple of fan headers here, and I say a couple, I mean like a few. So this board is a pretty cheap board, and it only has 2 good fan connectors. There's actually 3, but they're the ones in the middle of the board. I don't want to use that. So what I'm gonna do, luckily, I can daisy chain all of our case fans and our CPU cooler fans. Now, is this the most ideal situation? Nah, not really, but it's a 5500 with a liquid cooler. We're gonna run this one fan header format right over to here, where I believe I saw a fan header.
I will say there's only a 3-pin over here.
I'll take it.
All right, so 3-pin fan
whatever
header.
I can get.
This right here, we're gonna plug her up, and boom, there you go.
And by the way, to adjust the fans, go into the BIOS, don't download one of those crappy programs. All right, so now, besides the USB-C, which we'll figure out, Matt has basically a free range to go ahead and show you guys how to plug in the GPU. And then when we're done with that, I'm gonna show you guys how to cable manage, because you don't want to cable manage now. We want everything tidied up first and where it needs to be.
All right, guys, it's time to install our graphics card, which somehow had a twist tie on it. I don't really know, but here it is, our 6600. We're gonna go ahead and install our GPU in the utmost top slot here so we get our full 16x bandwidth. And how we're gonna do that is we're first going to unscrew this little PCI cover like so. And then we're gonna check and see which ones of these PCI covers we need to remove to install our graphics card. If we line it up for a test fit, you will see these two need to come out. Now these are break off, which means you're gonna push in, do a little bit of wiggle, and boom, that one's off. Same for the bottom one. Push in, do a little bit of wiggle, and boom, break that off. Then we're gonna take our graphics card and make sure this lock on the PCI slot is pushed down. We're gonna line up and push our GPU in, and then we're going to screw in our graphics card with those coarse-threaded power supply screws, same screws we use for our power supply. We're gonna screw in this top spot right here. Then you put this screw back in so you don't lose it. Cool, slide that in, screw that down. Then we're gonna take that 8-pin power connector. So you guys can see we got the 8+8. We're just gonna use this one, this top one, line it up like so, push that in. Then we're gonna feed this back to Jackson's side a little bit, and I'm gonna reach over and grab myself a zip tie, which Jackson's gonna need here in a minute. But this will allow me to clean this up just a little bit, which we'll further clean up here in a bit. But we're gonna zip tie this other little pigtail to the main connector. Just make it look a little bit cleaner. Like so. And we're gonna grab some snips. Snip there. And snip there. Rotate these in, tighten that a little bit more. Our GPU cable and everything is now installed. Now I'm gonna get Jackson to come in here and do his cable management section to show you guys how to really clean up the back. But hey, you got a working PC now, and we'll turn it on and show you guys after the cable management.
All right, now it's time for everybody's favorite part, cable management. I promise it's not as bad as it may look. I know it looks horrible. And McAllister is gonna put on screen because I ordered some, but they're not gonna be here until after the video's live. But don't worry, the giveaway winner will be getting the adapter that they need. So this USB-C is gonna go to a USB-A or USB 2.0 adapter. They're like $5 to $10 a piece on Amazon or eBay or wherever. They will run in USB 2 bandwidth. That's the only downside of them, but that's all good. We're gonna leave that on cable managed for now. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and I want these cables, these fan cables, kind of be out of the way. So I'm gonna see if I can find a spot. Ooh, it's a cheeky little spot right there. Because I don't want these fan headers running across the case, because when you think about it, cable management, the most important part is the presentation of the front of the build. Yeah, you want the back to look good, that's what we're gonna do, but ultimately, you're mainly doing this so the front looks good and you have the maximum amount of airflow. It's good to have some flush cuts or just some type of snips. Scissors will work fine too though, and lots of zip ties. Do not be afraid to go crazy with the zip ties. And I normally like to work my way like top to bottom because the bottom can be the dirtiest. We don't really need the cable management to go crazy on the bottom, especially because if you ever need to replace the power supply or get any extra cables because you got like your new graphics card in, you don't want to have to undo all your cable management. Yeah, so what I like to do is just kind of keep tension on it as I go. Every so often I'll find like little mounting points to kind of hold the cable down so it makes it easier to put the panel on. So like right here, for example, I'm using this little 2.5-inch SSD tray. You know, don't be afraid to use whatever as mounting points. Once again, keeping that front nice and clean. I'm getting these cables kind of held off to the side so they're not showing through the front. We'll get kind of a final pass right here with another zip tie. And then all this stuff, what we can kind of do is go ahead and, once again, we'll leave this USB-C nice and accessible. But we're gonna just go ahead and kind of shove all of this stuff into the bottom here. And just like that. Okay, this actually you won't be able to see, but I'm gonna go ahead and just throw a zip tie on it anyways. And the USB-C is gonna get tucked right in there, so I'll be able to access it nice and easily later. But you'll notice I'm leaving the bottom pretty messy because, like I said, I don't really worry too much about the bottom. Just because for doing upgrades, modifications, troubleshooting, it's just nice not having all of that cable managed. But this is definitely a good passing score right here. So we're nice and cable managed. Now I'm gonna bring Matt back in here. We're gonna actually see if this thing turns on, and then we're gonna get some games going.
All right, gamers, look at this. PC's built. You ready to turn it on?
Yeah, let's see if it works. Ooh, it said zip.
Yep. Oh, the fans are revving.
Yep, so it's gonna go through the BIOS and everything here, hopefully, and then the fans will potentially rev down, or we need to plug it in and troubleshoot. But you actually can win this gaming PC right here very soon.
We'll tell you about that, but first, some benchmarks. Oh, but wait, montage. All right, gamers, we are now in Fortnite, testing out this budget PC because you know what? You got a budget PC like this, you're gonna play Fortnite. It's funny, I feel like this spec configuration was like our step-by-step New Year's build guide about 2 or 3 years ago because it was meta back then. Budget PC gaming, man, this is still a good option, especially on the used market, and with RAM pricing going on right now, this is still a solid option. AM4 is gonna have a little more life, ladies and gentlemen. Now, am I gonna have a little more life? That is a great question, because this drop is looking mighty devious. Can I break in this window? Ugh. Oh no, oh no. Let's run this way. Give me a shotgun, give me a shotgun. All right, I have a fighting chance. Just like this PC. I'll show you guys the settings here in just a second if I survive. Let me crouch right here. So we're currently running 1080p, unlimited frame rate, performance mode, far view distance, low textures. So we're going for those performance settings. And we're getting about 100 FPS, 180, 165 at times. Not too shabby, if I say so myself. Now, obviously, with Fortnite, multiple drops, FPS will definitely improve. But let's see if I can survive long enough to let the FPS just improve naturally. Oh, here we go. I just want some shields, please. I want a little something for protection before I go out there and fight everyone. All right, screw it. You're done. Let's go second. Oh, whoa, that was scary. This is the game of budget PC building, for sure. There's so many chests here, it's crazy. All right, double elim, nice. What the heck? Take you out of the sky, sorry. And now your loot's falling from the sky, yay! A real gamer got me! Ah, I'm done. Hey, FPS started improving a lot throughout that run. I mean, at times we're getting 200 plus FPS, but on average about 170 plus, not too shabby there for a Fortnite run. Let's move on to the next game. All right, guys, we are in Are We There Yet for the last game we're gonna be testing, and this is a game that seems very easy to run on paper, but has some lumen effects in it, and it kind of follows the trend of these popular indie titles that are running some higher details. So currently we're running 1080p, 100% render scale, high settings, and we do have some lumen on, so a little lumen RT action, which the 6600 shouldn't be that great at, but as you guys can see, we're actually dipping below 60 here and there when we have lumen on. Realistically, I'll show you guys what it's like when we do turn lumen off, and it looks like we're locked at 60, but when we look up in the sky, it goes up to 88, so we are not capped in any way. So let's go ahead and toggle the engine. That's just skedaddle. This is a fun game to play with your friends, and that's kind of the beauty of PC gaming. And a reason why I like testing a variety of these games, well, we like testing a variety of these games. Did I just stall out? Nope, okay, let's go back to 0 here. Oh, there she goes. Anywho, is because these are the kind of games that people are actually gonna be playing with their friends, if they have friends they're gonna play games with. So cool to see that this game actually does run. It's a very goofy, you gotta drive through the mountains with your friends, your RV gets broken down a lot, and it's a lot of goofy times. But as we're driving, we're actually dipping below 60 here, so I'm most likely going to do what you all should do. And I'm going to pause right here and turn off a lumen. Oh, I'm just rolling. Oh God. Oh God. Let me change the settings. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Can I toggle the brake? There we go. I don't want to lose this thing. Can you let me go to graphics? Now this game is bugged. Shout out indie titles. There we go. Graphics should be off the vehicle for whatever reason. I'm going to turn lumen off. Let's turn that off, hit apply. Yeah, that's much better. Still getting about 60 FPS, so lumen doesn't seem to make a major difference, but it does get us into the 70s at times, so it looks a lot smoother. I would have the lumen off with this level of GPU anyways. I don't think it officially adds that much to this game, but it is cool that it's a feature that we can test. But hey, now that we've finished all our benchmarks, showed you guys what this PC is capable of, let's talk about how you can win this PC. At the time you're watching this video, if you guys are watching it when it went live, you got 2 hours to join our stream to win this PC. Head on over to twitch.tv/ToastyBros to do so, but we'll talk more about that during the outro.
All right, guys, we are in Battlefield 6, and I'm proud to say this thing is playing. We're in a new era of gaming where we're not trying to make games that won't run on nothing. But we're currently running 1080p, a custom medium graphics quality preset, so this is medium, and then this is the custom part because we're not using any upscaling. And honestly, I don't really need it. I thought we would, but I feel like this is up.
Oh.
Oh,
it's definitely. Oh, it's
what the tank?
Tank!
Oh,
whoa!
why did I peek that? Why did that feel like a good idea? I don't
Peeking
know.
a tank's crazy.
I don't know, but we're getting 80 plus FPS. This is pretty crazy.
You know, it's a novel concept. A game that looks really good, and it runs great on anything.
My ankles.
It's crazy.
How do they do that?
I always thought it was a little over-exaggerated. I guess Battlefield's definitely changed my mind a lot, where it was over-exaggerated. People were saying that developers are just getting really lazy with upscaling tech and making it to where you need to run it to like play their games. But this game feels like a good example of, that might be the case.
Once we go to Arc Raiders,
yeah,
I think we'll
that's
probably
also
see the
another
same
case
thing.
of a game that has been made pretty well, where you don't need upscaling. Upscaling is supposed to help you get from, the 60, 70, 80 FPS range to like the 120, 130 high refresh rate. It shouldn't be from unplayable to playable.
But yeah, so far we're looking good. And I mean, hey, the price of this PC is awesome. And I know there's going to be some people, I'm really thinking about our live stream, like YouTube audience, who are like, oh, this is throwaway hardware. It's so old. This is so cheap. Why would you use it? We're playing everything today, guys. I mean, there's going to be nothing we're not going to play. I promise you that. And I'm pretty proud of it. I'm feeling good. Let's see if I can safely. I just broke through the roof. I'm so...
He's got the pistol. He's got it. He's cooking.
Unk is cooking.
He's cooking.
I'm just glad they weren't real. Hello. Dude, why am I so bad now? What happened? I go out with my country.
Yo.
All right, well, Battlefield 6 ran really good, actually. But better not, I was thinking we were going to get like a locked 60, but we were getting 80, even close to 100 at times. So let's go on to the next game.
Let's raid some orcs.
We are now in Unk Raiders, and we are currently, I'll just go back to where I was. We gotta go to a safe spot. We can't die right when we get in. All right, so we're currently running 1080p again, and we're borderless full screen this time. This time we're gonna try some upscaling, some FSR3 set to balance. We can't do 4 with this card, a little older. But we're running ray tracing, which is asking a lot for, first gen ray tracing AMD cards, but medium preset.
Shout out RX 6600, baby.
It's holding. As you guys can see, we're in both games so far, we have not used all of our RAM. I know 16 isn't a lot these days, but in the current RAM economy, if you can just run your game and not get like tons of lag, you know, due to your RAM holding you back, just do what you got to do, you know, get your RAM going.
So for these budget builds, we're going back to 16 gigs being the way you're gonna have to go, and you're just gonna have to adapt and overcome.
Yeah, luckily most games have not gotten to a point where like they need to have 32. It's just if you're doing anything besides gaming, like if you got multiple tabs up and stuff like that in the background, maybe streaming, yeah, it's tough with 16, but if you're just gaming, this is still doable. I mean, we're showing it right now. What the hell is that?
Random video thought, I've been seeing these get more popular. They're non-malware ones. There's malware ones, you gotta be careful, don't do that. But there are some actual like tech creators who have made Windows tools that should get rid of like the AI background tasks and like all the random stuff within Windows that could, in theory, reduce some of your RAM usage. So in this economy,
more RAM?
Yeah, so you may be able to not need as much RAM for Windows, because you know Windows nowadays will just sit there and eat up about 4 gigs of RAM, just doing nothing.
All right, guys, are we fighting or are we friendly? That's the real question. Are we fighting bots or are we good people? Oh, are we fighting like a super bot? Like this guy right below me too. There's people all over the place, dude.
Now you're getting into some action. You're getting to the lower.
Oh
60s
yeah, big boy.
The Bombardier.
Hell yeah, I'll hop in on this. Oh, did we kill it? I just heard someone say, "Are you guys friendly?" Nah, fam, I ain't friendly. I'm here to kill everyone and everything with my Stitcher 1.
What's gonna happen is you're gonna go shoot them, and then everyone's gonna turn on you.
That'd be insane. I feel like they would just mow me down. So many people are looting this thing right now.
Oh, was it?
Look, they're watching. They're keeping a watchful. Oh, they're coming. Oh my God, 4 deep on this loot. This is crazy. Yeah, so I mean, we are dipping into like, you know, 60s at times, but this is like one of those games where it's not. I mean, it's competitive, but it's not. Like you're not doing esports competitions where you need like 200-300 FPS. It's more like a cinematic, fun kind of game. I think this is the most people I've ever seen together in one place on solos. It's kind of cool. We're all just together. Watch this be like one of the ones that I shouldn't be. Oh, look,
damage.
I think they're shooting. Oh, did they die already? I'm gonna grab your loot, so I feel like I'm leaving with something. What do you got for me? We got a power cell, sensors, arc alloy. We can make more shields, I think, with this stuff. You're dead, buddy. You're dead. I'm dead. Yeah, it seems safe to say though, you know, 60 to 80 FPS. That's with FSR. We're not running the lowest settings. You could totally run some lower settings, and I think maybe get closer. Yeah, if you turn off ray tracing, you'd probably get 100. But once again, friendly games, friendly to older hardware. This is what we need right now in this time. Maybe
Friendly
instead of
games.
trying to figure out RAM, we just figure out how to make games run even better on anything.
Guys, that'd be beautiful. The developers who come out with that stuff, beautiful.
So this PC ran really well, and we're going to talk in a minute. We've been reminding you guys this is a PC we're going to be giving away to you guys. We do this every single month, but we know there's always new people that don't know about it. But overall, you're going to be really happy if you get this or if you build it yourself in 2026. I know it's some older parts, but they're still making almost all these parts brand new. You can substitute the 6600 for something like a 9060 XT.
Again, this is meant to be a guide that'll go throughout 2026, and hopefully DDR4 RAM pricing is still somewhat close to this when you're trying to build this or replicate it at home. But again, if you want up-to-date pricing availability, links in the description down below are affiliate links. They will help us out. Let me go over the 30 more times score, and then Jackson will tell you how you could win this PC very soon. As in, if you're watching this when the video goes live, you got 2 hours. Our 30 more times by score was 7,831, which is a 7 cent per point score, which for an all off-the-shelf components build with some used parts mixed in, not too bad for price to performance.
All right, get on your listening caps, because if you're watching this video right after it went live, we do this every single month. So if you missed this one, it's all good. We're going to be doing another one, maybe a better PC. But on twitch.tv/ToastyBros, every second Friday of the month, unless it changes, we give away a gaming PC that we feature here on the Toasty Bros channel, and we stream for 6 whole hours where we game. What else do? We game, we shave heads. We shaved Zach bald last stream.
We made a really bad pie.
We made really bad pie. I mean, it's a fun time. And then we give away this PC usually towards the end of the stream, along with some other giveaways throughout the stream. So we highly recommend following us over on twitch.tv/ToastyBros. Turn on those notifications. We don't want you guys to keep missing these giveaways. So hopefully we see you guys on that live stream. But as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
So this PC right here will not be for sale at PC Bros because you only have the chance to win it over at Toasty Bros, but we build a lot of PCs like this for PC Bros, so go check it out.
PCBros.tech. Maybe you just don't want to deal hunt and build your own PC, which I don't blame you. It's kind of crazy out there. Go to PC Bros, buy a PC today. Use code Toasty Bros on checkout. You'll save 3% of your next purchase. See you guys later. Bye-bye.